One of my mentors suggested this game, and I'm going to suggest it to you as well. It's called Notice Your Triggers. Yes, this applies to that full moon that we had this morning. My name is Sarah. I'm SRB Stars and all the things. If you'd like to learn how to work with me, pause to read right here. So our Aries full moon was exact this morning at 24 degrees of Aries. And so that means that the moon was at 24 degrees of Aries and the sun was at 24 degrees of Libra. Now that's an opposition, and how you meet in the middle, not necessarily giving and taking, but just meet in the middle is how you work with an opposition. It's the balance between the me of Aries and the we of Libra. In addition to all of this, Pluto, that planet of transformation, is hanging out at 29 degrees of Capricorn, and Mars is at 22 degrees of Cancer. Those are also cardinal signs. So we have what we call a cardinal grand cross. It looks like a box in a chart. So Pluto and Mars, they show us our triggers. They show you where you're like, oh, yeah, that's bothering me. Yeah, it could be in the form of a family member because Mars is in Cancer. It could be in the form of a structure that you have at work because Pluto's in Capricorn. It just could be a lot. And honestly, they're not exact. Remember, I said Pluto's at 29 degrees and Mars is at 22. So that means that they're just coming closer together to being directly across from each other. That exactness doesn't happen until 3 days before the election. So if you start to notice your triggers now, it might make it easier for you as we get closer to that time. So how do you work with these triggers? How do you deal with these things as they come up? Well, you can lean into whatever energy the moon is giving us at that time. At the time of the full moon, it's Aries, so it's fiery. How can you be your own warrior? After 4 o'clock Eastern, it's Taurus. How can you ground yourself into it? Because the moon is our regulatory system. The big thing is, though, noticing that is your superpower. Noticing what's triggering you and asking yourself, why? Why is it triggering me? Is that trigger something I even need in my life? Is that something I could maybe change, or does it really have to trigger me? I used to be triggered a lot by certain people in my life, and you come up with different ways to deal with that, if you know what I mean. This is all to say that this Aries full moon is really good at releasing some of those triggers. You could yell at this full moon, and yes, it happened this morning, but you can totally do that tonight. She's going to be okay with hearing it. She'll take it all in. You can even write out those frustrations, put them on a piece of paper, and flush it. That's what I put in my newsletter as an idea for people too. By the way, that newsletter goes out on Saturday, and it's free. How are you going to honor this full moon?